Hello, everyone. This is Wrestling Watcher, a YouTube channel that's about watching professional wrestling. So, social media and the wrestling media, the IWC, whatever euphemisms or terms we want to use, is going a bit of buzz at this juncture because Chris Jericho liked a post, I believe it was on Instagram, that teased his return, that talked about it. Now, Jericho is in his early to mid-50s at this point, and he's nearing the end of his in-ring career. And look, I know he's been in AEW since 2019. That would be a good 6 years at this point. But Jericho deserves a good WWE retirement, a Hall of Fame induction, and to be re-welcomed into the company. He's too important a part of the WWE legacy, the tapestry of the company, to just be ignored or blackballed. So I can't see him just never coming back. Now, I don't know when his AEW contract is set to expire. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I do think a WWE return is possible. And look, it's August 20th or 21st or 20th right now. So the Royal Rumble is 5 months away? That would be a great time for it. Look, if Chris Jericho got a surprise entrance into the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia next year, that would be absolutely huge. That would be a massive pop. I don't care how long he's been away from the company. I don't care how long he's been in AEW. He's done as much as I think he can in AEW, to be honest. I don't think there's very much more story to tell. In fact, it's been kind of the same story on repeat with just different names. It's like the same movie or TV show, whichever form of media you want to use, a movie or a TV show with Chris Jericho since he's arrived in AEW. I'll give you an example. First, it was the Inner Circle. Then it was the Jericho Appreciation Society. And then it became the Learning Tree. He is the leader of a heel stable with the intent of lasting a year and a half, 2 years, with the ultimate intent of getting younger talent over. Now, look, the concept has been done in professional wrestling for a long time, and I don't hate it. I don't hate the concept. He's the perfect guy for that. The problem is, it's the same TV show or the same movie repeatedly, which means it's going to lose something. It's diminishing returns is the term. When something works well and then you try it again and again and again, you'll get returns, but they'll be diminishing. It won't be what it was. It won't be what the original is. And I think that's where we're at with Jericho and AEW. I think we've done all we can. He's towards the end of his career, and so there should be a retirement looming. And that retirement should happen within WWE. Now, who should the final opponent be? Ideally, Kevin Owens, but unfortunately, he's out with that neck injury. Godspeed to him. Hopefully, he recovers well, and Kevin Owens still has plenty of time in the ring, hopefully, and we'll see him again. But ideally, it would be Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn would be great. I mean, you could easily put Jericho, depending on if he came back as heel or babyface, depending on what side of the aisle he's on. I love him versus Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed could make sense. Him versus Randy Orton could make sense. Him, if he's heel, and he made that Royal Rumble return, if you wanted to do something with him and Cody, one match between the two at an Elimination Chamber or somewhere in between WrestleMania, you could definitely do something there. A heel Jericho versus a babyface Cody, I think, would work. There's a lot of different options with Jericho, I would say. And look, he deserves that Hall of Fame induction. He just does. He deserves honestly, he shouldn't just be one of the wrestlers inducted that year. He should be the main event induction of that year. He deserves that honor, in my opinion. Eventually you'll have to get to the discussion of who inducts him and things of that nature, and how long a retirement tour should last for him, and when the final match should be, and all that sort of thing. I mean, look, WrestleMania 35, the one at MetLife Stadium, I believe it was 2019. It was the one with the triple threat main event of Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair. You had Kurt Angle have his last match there in a retirement situation against Baron Corbin. So I don't see any reason why Chris Jericho can't do the same thing. I mean, you could put him up against someone that destroys him at a WrestleMania, similar to how Baron Corbin beat Kurt Angle within, I think it was 6 minutes or something like that. You can do the same thing with Jericho. And there's a lot of different young opponents that you could do that with. Carmelo Hayes comes to mind. You could do something there. But it would be good for him to return back to WWE, because the stories in AEW, you've told all you can, I think. You have told all you can. They do have this relationship with CMLL, I believe. AEW does. Because AEW has the relationship with CMLL, and WWE outright brought AAA. Maybe you could do something there with Jericho a little bit, but other than that, I think the stories that can be told have been told. And WWE should be the final stop. And I think fans would pop for it. I mean, Jericho's still an entertaining, capable performer. It's just the same story told over and over again. I mean, there's only so many times you can tell the same story. But that's going to be all for this one, guys. Thank you for listening. Thanks. Bye.